UFC fans, we have an unreal fight for you this Saturday at UFC 281. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira is one of the most interesting matches in UFC history, and you don't want to miss it. If you want to make things even more exciting, listen up. Our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC, is giving new customers an amazing deal. If you're a new customer, here's what you do. Sign up using the promo code Sonnen. Bet just $5 on either fighter to win prior to the fight starting. And if he does, you will win an additional $200 in free bets in your pocket. Want even more action? Combine multiple bets, like which fighter will win and how long the fight will last, in one parlay to give you a shot at even bigger winnings. If mobile sports betting is not yet available in your state, DraftKings Daily Fantasy is giving all MMA fans a chance to cash out this weekend. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Sonnen when signing up. Bet $5 on any UFC 281 fighter to win, and you will get an additional $200 in free bets if your athlete wins. That's code Sonnen. This Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. What are the odds that we see grappling between Adesanya and Pereira? If you were just to throw it out. I mean, if I would have told you 2 days before bell time for Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou that we were going to see grappling, as a matter of fact, we're going to see 12 and a half minutes of it. As a matter of fact, top position on the ground is going to determine our winner. You'd have told me I was crazy, and I wouldn't have said it. Now, I wouldn't have said it not because I don't know the rules and that I know that a guy could get there. This was by the numbers. Ciryl Gane had never been taken down. Never spent 1 second on his back. Of all of the completeness that he was showing himself, just to remind you, Ciryl Gane was ranked number 5 in the world, pound for pound, when that fight went off. He was the interim champion. He was 15-0. But as well, right, that's what pound for pound represents. Who's most dynamic, who's shown things everywhere. Ciryl never been in that position. And Francis Ngannou, to my knowledge, had never taken anybody down. I also had a very good understanding of what Francis was doing in the training room. And Francis was working very hard, very diligently on takedown defense and getting up off the bottom. So when I share that with you, it was Francis that was getting the takedowns. It was Francis that found the reversals. It was Francis that was able to hold a man down. It looks to you when you watch this like the hard part is getting a guy there. I'll share with you, that is more sophisticated. There's more calculus and geometry in closing the distance, knowing where to explode and getting a guy down. I admit that, but holding a guy down, I mean, it's a close second. Francis did all of these things. I don't believe that he prepared for it. Inside scoop of the practice room, people that he was paying to come in that were wrestlers, they were to take him down. He wasn't trying to take them down. He was defending. He was getting him off the bottom in case he goes there. And I don't even know that he was overly prepared to do that with Ciryl, as much as it was just a part of his complete training. The reason I bring that up is you would have told me that I was crazy. Now, Adesanya yesterday comes out, tells Ariel Helwani he knows something Pereira doesn't. That's going to be the difference in this fight. He knows something that Pereira doesn't. Is that gamesmanship? Maybe. Or is he talking about a takedown? Maybe. It's very hard to know. And I will tell you, offensively and defensively, for me and my experience in wrestling, is the same. It's going to be the same amount of work, the same amount of minutes, the same amount of goes, the same amount of instruction. To get a guy down, if you put that in reverse, to stay on your feet, it's going to be the same thing. And I bring that to you because, though, we've never seen Adesanya try to take somebody down. We have seen Adesanya in his very first fight with Vettori get taken down. And the next fight, he was a little bit harder to get there. He could get up off the bottom. But by his third fight, he's now in there with his best wrestler, which is Brunson, who never got him down. 2 fights later, guys, he's calling out world and Olympic medalists in wrestling. They're not getting him down. Now, all that I've proven is that to get to that point where he can get up off the bottom or, moreover, never go down in the first place, to get to that point, in my experience in wrestling, you got to do both. Whether Adesanya ever went for a takedown or not, I think we would be naive to assume that he doesn't have them. And he's definitely showed us the ability to learn. I don't know if anybody has learned in front of our eyes at a faster rate than Adesanya. I can't recall it. Comes in with hype, gets taken down against Vettori and held there. Some people thought he lost the fight, including one of the judges, including Michael Bisping, who called the fight. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. This is the blueprint. Kid's not going to be able to figure it out. He'll work on wrestling at 10 and 14 years old would be a late start. This guy's 25 years old. It's too late. No, he figured it out, and he only had a number of months. It was only 11, 13 months. From that fight where the blueprint against Vettori versus him not even getting taken down against Brunson in Madison Square Garden on a main card, I mean, it was really shocking. And to believe that he's only learning defense, that's just not how it works. Never seen a wrestling practice in my life where you only worked defense, even for a day. I'm not talking about for a camp. I'm not talking about for a curriculum or in Izzy's case, a number of years. I've never even seen it for one day. I truly haven't seen it. If you're taking a guy down, then he gets to go and try it on you. It's back and forth. That's just the way that works. So is Adesanya have a takedown in his arsenal that he plans to break out? We've seen his groundwork. We saw it with Gastelum. Now, again, that's from the bottom. But I recall Adesanya receiving a belt promotion from Andre Galvao. And I'm crossing MMA and I'm crossing wrestling practice. I'm bringing jiu-jitsu in, but we know a lot about Andre Galvao, don't we? And we know he does not give you belt promotions for mastering one of the two positions that you could be in. So even though we've never seen it, even though we have no evidence, even though no teammate, no coach, not even Adesanya himself is threatening a takedown, I just want to ask you, what are the odds that this fight goes to the ground? I was watching Pereira, guys. Adesanya is a total package. I am sold. But I was a buyer years ago. When Adesanya danced on the way to the ring against Whitaker, I mean, it was something special, truly. The pressure that he had on his back, 57,000 live in attendance, biggest fight of his life, most money, most up for grabs, most beautiful placement. When he danced on the way to the ring, I just learned something about this guy. When he came out as Undertaker theme and never broke character, anybody else would have started as the Taker. They would have heard the dong, and then they would have looked up to the crowd and smiled, and they would have walked a little fast. They wouldn't have stuck with it. They wouldn't have had the discipline. It's a big deal. Not just from an entertainer and a kayfabe standpoint. I know from a martial artist who understands this is about psychology, and his psychology was somewhere else until it wasn't, until he flipped that switch. I learned something about him. Pereira. I believe Pereira has the potential to possibly get the same praise from me as Adesanya. Adesanya checks absolutely every box. He'll entertain you before the ring. He'll entertain you during the fight. He'll entertain you after. The things that I've seen from Pereira, he's special. I do find him interesting. I really do. I think there's something great there. There is a habit with the guys that have a huge success. There's some kind of an incessant need to break the rules of the basics. Adesanya's guilty too. Floyd Mayweather's guilty. Roy Jones is guilty. Sugar Ray Leonard, my personal favorite, is guilty. Duran is guilty. The only boxer that I could tell you that. Tyson Fury's guilty. Mike Tyson is the only one to make it to the highest of levels and observe the basics, which is chin down and your hands up at all times. I'm watching Pierre on the mitts. This is just last night. Oh my God, the power that he's getting, the power that he's hitting these mitts with, moves in a very special way. But what does he do in between those punches? He puts his hands down. Big deal, guys. I mean, it's a big deal. Why ever give the guy an opportunity? Why ever give him an opportunity? But I know a number of greats that do it. Here, I'll give you an example from a wrestling standpoint. You bend your knees and you put your hands up. But a guy, when he starts getting really good at wrestling, he'll bend his knees and he'll take his elbow and he'll rest it on his knee. Sometimes he'll walk out to the center line like that to start. He'll shake hands and he'll rest his elbow on his knee. On day one, you put your elbow on your knee, you're doing push-ups, and everybody knows it. But when a guy gets so good that he can get away with it, there's something within him that wants to show, I'm so good I can get away with this. I've seen it in a number of sports, but when I see these great strikers going out and do it, I just get confused. Why are you doing that? Why did the coach who didn't let you do that on the first day, the first month, the first week, your first year, for your first fight, let you do it now? Why? How come? But there's something within the guy. It's almost a sign that I've arrived. When I can let go of the basics, when I can look good while I'm doing it, when I can get oohs and ahs from the crowd as opposed to going out doing the damage, effectively winning. And I do notice that with Pereira. Now, I can't fault Pereira, at least not in this fight, because Adesanya does it too. Both of these guys do it. I just don't understand why. And I bring that point to you because before we talk about grappling, they're going to have to survive the striking. People love to tell you when they're signing you up to jiu-jitsu class that 80% of fights go to the ground. What nobody seems to tell anybody is 100% of fights start standing up. Before we get to the grappling, we're going to have to get through the striking. It is very hard to imagine that this is a tit-for-tat brawl, a Dan Hooker, Dustin Poirier-esque 25 minutes. It's hard to imagine. These guys are too good. They hit too damn hard. I don't think they can take those kind of shots. I don't think either one can take those shots from the other. It's not about who hits harder, guys. They both hit hard enough. That's how hard they hit. So it's very hard to imagine that we got a big tit-for-tat going. It's even hard to imagine that if we go out there and engage and we get into a fisticuffs, that we get to the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round. Something has to give, right? They can't all be true. Or these guys bring out a skill that we haven't seen before, which would lend you to the grappling. I'm not bullish on that idea. But I want to know if you are. I want to know if I'm missing something. Is this not a kickboxing fight under the unified rules? Is that not what this is? Are we going to see groundwork? Are we going to see scrambles? I'd like to hear what you think. I'd like to hear it prior to bell time.